Welcome to the Dowden Podcast. I'm your host, the official CRG, and today I want to branch away from topics about the brain and shine light on our cannabis reclassification bill and really explain what could happen because I know there's a lot of confusion and just things on this topic as a whole, and I believe it needs to be cleared up. But before we get started, make sure to leave a like and subscribe down below. That way you don't miss any weekly episodes and posts. You can find video of this episode strictly on YouTube, but the audio everywhere else. Now, with that said, cannabis or marijuana has been a Schedule 1 drug for the past century or so, having it be on the same scale as heroin and LSD, classifying it as a very high potential drug for abuse and addiction. But as the years have gone by, it hasn't stopped the studies or tests, making the DEA, which is the Drug Enforcement Administration, to notice positive results and effects, causing them to reclassify the drug overall. Now, the real question is, if they do reclassify cannabis, what would happen to the markets and prices, and how would it affect the consumer overall? And that's what I'm going to hopefully answer today. So, when it comes to cannabis just being reclassified, there's talk about it going from a Schedule 1 drug to a Schedule 3, meaning it would be defined as a moderate to low potential for physical and psychological dependence, and in the same category as ketamine, codeine, and anabolic steroids. So, if that were to happen, it would lessen restrictions for cannabis and cannabis industries, causing prices and the actual product to go down, but also giving the companies more ways to earn money. Because right now, cannabis industries have a hard time gaining profit because one, they're mistreated and frowned upon, and two, nailed with insane taxes that other corporations that aren't cannabis related pay. Also, if the bill passes, it allows for full blown scientific research on cannabis, which is something that we've never really had before. But I have to say, if you aren't a medical patient, this bill won't really affect you because this isn't making cannabis federally legal. So if you're hoping that this bill gets passed and that it would be, unfortunately it won't. This bill really only affects medical patients and legal cannabis corporations. But with that said, some concerns I've seen online with this bill is that if it does get passed, will cannabis then be a prescription instead of dispensary based? And the answer is simply no. It would stay the exact same because cannabis dispensaries aren't licensed pharmaceutical companies and they aren't FDA regulated, meaning cannabis isn't allowed to be sold anywhere else but a dispensary. Lastly, I've seen a lot of questions on what it will do to the product itself and if it will be ruined, and honestly, that can only go one of two ways. For example, the bill could either get passed, giving these dispensaries more money, having them up their inventories and quality of the product as a whole, or they're going to take advantage of the money and push out mid quality products as bulk or low prices. Because now, yes, it won't be federally legal, but the legal businesses that are up and running will then be able to increase the grow rate, giving them more product to work with. But with that said, today's quote is by Bob Marley. He once said, "Herb is the healing of a nation, alcohol is the destruction." I appreciate you tuning in. You can follow us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And this is the Dowden Podcast.